So I bring up how we're in Super Mario Brothers a lot, and I do that because it's easy for people to understand, like you're in a video game as a character. I talk about how we're kind of, the Higgs field brings us into existence, the Higgs field brings matter into existence, and basically that makes everything an avatar. Um, but if we think of matter as not fundamental and instead we say consciousness is fundamental, then it kind of changes the whole thing and you start to see Mario in a different light. If consciousness is fundamental and Mario dies, um, that fundamental thing, see, the observer, I always bring up the observer brings everything into existence. Without a tree falls in a forest and there's no observer, it doesn't make a sound. So Mario, he needs, even if he's rebooted as a different Mario, that consciousness, he's just an avatar for the consciousness. That's what I'm trying to say. He's just an avatar for the consciousness. So it doesn't matter if he dies by a turtle. The consciousness is still there and just another avatar reboots. I really think that's what could be happening. If consciousness is fundamental, that's probably if consciousness is fundamental, that is what's happening. And I think it is fundamental because you need the observer to bring matter into existence, to bring reality. And we know that because of the double slit experiment. We know that's actually factually true. The observer brings reality into existence. A tree doesn't make a sound without an observer. That means consciousness is the most fundamental thing. And that's what we always say. We always say the observer is everything on this channel. Mm-hmm. Well, then we're immortal because consciousness remains after we die, and it's simply a new avatar. New pixels are written over it. It's just like this guy on TV here, Donald Hoffman, I'm watching him. He said a file on the desktop, it's representing, it's an avatar on the desktop. It's representing like a lot of underlying code that is fundamental, but the file isn't. But the file is what we're using. It's like an avatar for like really complex underlying code. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So Mario or us, we're just a really complex, pixelated in quotes, like really complex avatar for we're really simple avatar for some really complex underlying structure. And why would that structure die just because this stupid avatar dies? That structure is probably going on. That structure is like some kind of universal consciousness or something like that. It's some kind of very complex, just a complex structure, whether it's a brain, whether it's a...
So can consciousness exist without an observer?
Dude, I think consciousness is fundamental. Mm-hmm. So again, Mario, so when Mario hits the turtle and he dies, his avatar disappeared from the screen, but his, quote, consciousness never died, because he just reboots as a new Mario. The underlying code is still there. Mm-hmm. We could die, but our underlying code is going to remain.
That's what it kind of feels like, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because, the observer is everything, but it also feels like there is some sort of deeper underlying thing, which could be consciousness.
I think it has to be, that double slit. So we're just a physical representation of that. Mm-hmm. Whatever that complex underlying code is, we're the avatar. So if the avatar goes away, if I delete the file from the desktop,
right, it goes to the recycle.
I delete the icon, That's just a, what is that, like a shortcut to the file? The file still remains. Really, it's just the file on the desktop. It's representing very complex underlying code. When I delete that file, it doesn't delete the code. And in fact, I could recreate that file on the desktop and like relink it to the code. So I think consciousness is fundamental. When we die, consciousness does not die. All that dies is this avatar. It's the avatar that dies. The graphics. The graphics go into a state of, if they were in 1, they go in 0. It's a binary condition. You're either alive or you're dead. So if you're alive, you're 1, and if you're dead, you're 0. Or if you're alive, you're 0, and you're dead, you're 1. I don't know which way it works, but it's binary. So the avatar goes binary. It's either alive or dead. But that doesn't mean the underlying, like the deeper underlying structure of that thing died. Just like when I delete a file, all the stuff under, just when I delete an icon off the desktop, all the stuff is still there. So it's that stuff that's fundamental, not our physical bodies. Yeah.